Hi, I'm Jonah. I am from Marysville, Ohio, and Fort Wayne, Indiana before that, and I like old things, generally. Many of my earliest memories were going to thrift shops, flea markets, and car shows with my parents, and just kind of roaming around looking for things that I didn't see that often. Fortunately, one consequence of that is that I like to keep a lot of things. I had a lot of collections. My favorite collection to share, other than like cars, Star Wars, all that stuff, was my silverware set. I had my own specific little drawer that had like my silverware in our kitchen, and I wouldn't use like the family silverware, and they weren't allowed to use mine naturally, unless they really needed it, of course. And each piece was like unique and completely individual, and it was fun. They were colorful. Some of them were like plastic, some of them were metal, some of them were huge, some of them were small. There's no consistency at all. And what I found is it's kind of a pattern in other areas of my life as I've gotten older, that I'm not very good at doing things in ordered ways. And looking back to my early experiences in art classes, it's funny because I think that made me hate art, because everything was a craft, everything had steps and an ordered process, which is hilarious because, that's not really how anyone would describe art, but that's how it's taught. So what I've been doing more lately is trying to be creative and to make creative things, because I realized that my methods don't have to be technically perfect in order for the project to be fun, engaging, a good break, and in the end, maybe even visually interesting or cool. So starting last semester, my mom visited in the fall, like maybe a month into school, and when she visits, we really like to go shopping. So we hit a thrift store in the South Nashville area, Thrift Smart, and I found these magazines, these Time magazines that were super colorful, behind me, from like 1988 to 1991, and then a couple in the 2000s. But focusing on this 88 to 91 magazines, I bought them. They were like 25 cents. They sat on my shelf for 3 months. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. It was just that acquisition mindset that I had from being a 5-year-old, where I was like, ooh, this cool shiny thing that I like the design of, wonder what I can do with that. And I'd never really done anything with that before. I just like kept things that I liked and appreciated the design in, or appreciated the font, the color, or something like that. So fast forward into the semester, things get really crazy. I was in 6 classes, really overwhelmed, pretty stressed, planning my capstone at the same time. So as soon as I got out of finals, spontaneous solo backpacking trip to Colombia. My friends were all like shocked, confused, worried, but it was really fun. It was a great experience, and like when I came back to school from there, I was very much like disillusioned. I was like, no, this isn't. I had so much fun traveling, and then the same routine, and I'm starting a capstone. Like I don't even have classes, and I love classes. So I was a little bit bummed out, and my second weekend, I walked over to Office Depot in a windstorm. It was like super windy, gross outside. Bought cardboard and rubber cement. Not sure where I got that idea. I remember I did it in 3rd grade once with rubber cement. I used it. And I'd been thinking about the magazines, like what I could do with them. So I just went to Office Depot, looked for some supplies, found that. Cardboard moving box and rubber cement, $7 total. Walked back to my room. I was carrying this huge cardboard box, like blowing around in the wind. Really embarrassing. So I get back to the room, and I just start cutting things up. So I looked at the magazines, cut out the pieces that I like, tear the pages off, and lay out this cardboard flat on my floor. Like I have a single, this is a tiny room. It was just all a mess. It still kind of is. So very different than my usual neat, ordered environment that I keep at school. And I arranged the magazines in like ways that I thought were cool, put together words, put together pictures that were interesting to me. First project, I kept everything as a full page. I didn't cut out individual ones, just for the record. And I found that was like a super relaxing thing, and it made me really happy to see like out and my friends kind of walk by in the room, and I'm like listening to music, doing this, and being weird, and it just felt really true to who I was. Then I realized I could use that for my learning goal for capstone. It was something that happened independently of an assignment, but kind of folded into the way that I want to live my life more going forward. So here is my room, where I have the projects displayed kind of around the walls here. And this is one panel of my second project, so it's a little bit different, kind of the strategy of how I cut things up for this one. I tried to make it a lot of smaller pieces and irregular shapes to get more practice there. On the second one, I also tried to use a lot more words and to kind of put them together in eye-catching ways to see what people get out of it. And this is kind of the bottom area of my first project, again, using like the full pages. And the Time magazines I used were very global warming focused, like environmentalism focused. So that's usually something that kind of stands out here. This is the section just above sort of the middle top area of the first project. I think it's really cool because it has some advertisements and just designs that you probably wouldn't see in a magazine today, but it existed back then. So this is a paint project that I did also for my learning goal. It was really fun because I didn't apply most of the paint with a brush. I applied it through like smashing a box on the canvas and spreading out from there. So that's why everything kind of comes out from the center and it's three-dimensional in the center as well. And these two are earlier ones that I've made. Again, really focusing on like one color at a time, getting like cool textures and blends. The second one is actually kind of fun. I made it with a candlelight and ash from a fire, so that's why it has that like chalky, dusty look, and why it looks like burn on the corners. And where I am heading next with this learning goal, I recently went to a flea market, again when my mom came to town, and we got a bunch of magazines from the late 60s and early 70s, which is my favorite era. And I mean, you can tell from the covers, these are just cool. So I'm hoping to turn these into another project, probably similar to the second one that I did with the Time magazines, where the background itself has a unique shape and the cuts are a lot smaller so you can get more detailed and creative. But yeah, this learning goal has been really helpful in giving me a new hobby and putting some creative energy to use.